I don't know if you can actually see this, but just to kind of let you know where we're at here, we're on the Canyon Overlook Trail in Zion National Park, and we're attempting to get to the top here. It's not a very long hike, but in the dark it makes things a little bit more challenging. I'm gonna get to the top to shoot the sunrise. I'm not gonna sunrise to shoot it is coming up behind us from where we're gonna shoot, so what I'm hoping for is for it to illuminate those hills. And I'm gonna test out the 14 mil versus the 8 to 16 beast. So let's get up there before the sun comes up and ruins our opportunity. So I'll check back in at the top. All right, we made it to the top. Let me shut the headlamp off, take it off. So the light's just starting to break. Really hard to know what's gonna happen here this morning, but got gorgeous clouds forming over here. And in the back here, we also have clouds, so it's hard to tell at the moment whether or not we're going to get the light actually casting that nice golden light onto these rocks. Regardless, it's absolutely stunning this morning. So I know something good will happen. Something always good, almost always good happens on sunrise. So I'm gonna set up and then I'll explain to you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start off this morning with the 8 to 16. My whole idea behind this morning is I have currently, this is the widest lens in the Fuji lineup. Zoom lens, actually the widest lens period at 8 millimeters. And I have here the widest prime, which I've been using for a long time now. And it's just an absolute, I love this lens. So I really haven't tested one against the other. So this morning, in addition to grabbing some other pictures, obviously the main focus will be to pit this at 14 millimeters versus the 14 millimeter prime. And I'll take you back into the office and we'll look at the differences on the computer to see if there actually is a difference. Why I want this is, well, I scoured the internet and YouTube to find if anybody had done any type of comparison like this, and it doesn't exist. Because it'd be nice just to carry one lens versus, I know this is small, but it just takes one of those things. It takes up just a little bit more space. If this compares with this, then this will stay more at home in the office and I'll take it out on other occasions. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the spectrum of f-stops this morning. I don't think I'm going to go, I may go all the way down to 2.8, 2.8, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 11. I'm not going to go past f11 because I don't think that's a fair comparison. We don't really, the sharpness starts to disintegrate after f11 on pretty much any lens, so due to diffraction. So that's going to not be the case this morning. So 2.8 to f11. So now it's just a waiting process, really. Okay guys, the sun has just crested, so I'm going to go ahead and get my images right now as quickly as I can. We'll go ahead, that's at 2.8. We're on the 18 to 16 millimeter. And I'm going to go up to, that's f4, we're at f5.6. By the way, 5.6 is the optimal sharpness on this particular lens. So that's f11. Shots are done. All right, we're in the focus in the exact same spot. We're gonna fire off now. I'm gonna go to f2.8, pick my exposure. I'm good. And 2-second timer, and fire these off in the same sequence, f2.8, and then I'm just adjusting my shutter speed for every stop that I go on my lens. I have to change my shutter speed the exact same amount. So that's it for the moment. What I'm gonna do now is let's roll back into the studio where we can actually take a look at these photos. All right, now that we find ourselves back in the office, the moment that we've been waiting for, well, at least that I've been waiting for, to find out whether or not the image quality of this lovely 8-16 millimeter zoom can compete with one of Fujifilm's sharpest primes, the 14 millimeter. And we all know, we've all heard through the years that zooms can't really compare to primes as far as image quality and sharpness, but we're about to find out. So let me jump on into the computer and let's take a look. Okay, let's get started here. So we can see here that I have all of the images color coordinated. So red, for example, red and red down here, red and red are both images shot at f2.8. You can see here that this is the 8-16 millimeter lens on the left-hand side, and I was actually at 13.6, which is, in my opinion, close enough. And we are at this is the 14 millimeter prime. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go through each of these 5 images at the different apertures, and we'll look, study the sharpness, and compare both lenses. Okay, so I'm going to pick about 4 different spots, and we're going to go for it. Okay, let's start in the center of the image. And let's take a look at the 8-16 and the 14. So this is at f2.8 at the center. I think that the 14 millimeter is slightly sharper, but really not by much. All right, let's take a look at the left-hand corner of the image. And here in the left-hand corner, I see no discernible difference between the two. Let's go to the right corner. And actually, startling enough, I think that there is a little bit of difference here. The 14 actually looks slightly softer than the 8-16 in the right corner. All right, let's take a look at the upper right-hand corner. And once again, the 8-16 looks sharper in the upper right-hand corner. Actually, this is real soft, and this is not. Quite a difference there, actually. And then let's look deeper into the image here and see if we can tell. Really, at this point, the 8-16 at 2.8 does look slightly sharper, but just by a hair. Okay. So 2.8, I think the 8-16 does slightly win, not in the center, but definitely on the edges. Okay, let's look at the center. This is f4. So at f4, I think once again in the center, the edge slightly goes to the 14 millimeter, but really not by much. Let's take a look at the left-hand corner. In the left-hand corner, once again, this maybe, no, there's just really not enough slight edge maybe to the 14, but that's really hard to tell. Look at the right-hand corner. In the right-hand corner, we have, well, the 14 millimeter might just edge out the 8-16 slightly at f4. Let's look up here at upper right-hand. Upper right-hand, it looks to me like the 8-16 just slightly edges the 14 millimeter. Interesting. And then the upper left. Well, and once again, I think that the 8-16 comes out on top in the corner here. Let's go to f5.6. This is the sharpest spot pretty much, I believe, for both of these lenses. So let's take a look. Optimal sharpness for both. Let's go to the center. And in the center on this one, there now, to me, is no difference. I could not tell you one over the other. The tree looks the same, the sharpness in the rocks is the same. To me, they look identical. Let's look at the left-hand corner. Rocks in the left-hand corner, again, to me, they look identical. In the right-hand corner, sharpness, again, to me, there's no discernible difference between those two. Upper right. Once again, the upper right-hand corner is going to go to the 8-16. On all of the images so far, it produces a sharper image in the upper right-hand corner. Upper left, again, this is slightly softer. The 8-16 wins out again. So corner sharpness, the 8-16 is definitely looking like the champion. Let's take a look at f8. f8 in the center. f8 in the center. Boy, that is a real tough one. Honestly, I think a slight edge may go to the 8-16 here, but that is really tough. Really not a lot of difference between the two. Go to the left-hand corner. Once again, left-hand corner, no discernible difference. Let's go to the right-hand corner. In the right-hand corner, again, those images look identical. And upper right. This now seems to even out with these two. They're real even at f8, real even. And then upper left. In the upper left, I think now at f8, both of these lenses have very much evened out. Interesting. Let's go to the final image, f11. And same thing, center sharpness, let's take a look. Center sharpness at f11, they're definitely not as sharp as they were at f6, but they are pretty much identical again. And let's go to left. In the left-hand corner, again, no discernible difference. Right-hand corner. Again, no, they look like an identical image to me. Upper right, the same thing. And upper left, I'm assuming they're going to be very similar, and they are. So no discernible difference. So the bottom line is we did see some differences at the lower apertures here, but as we climb the aperture ladder, things definitely even out, and it becomes really a wash at that point. But at f5.6, I think if it was for my money, the 8-16 outperformed overall the 14mm, which is actually astonishing to me. All right, guys. I hope that you found that information as useful as I did and as interesting. I had definitely some interesting results there. So really, what are my conclusions with this? This lens, I conclude, is stellar. Optically stellar. It is sharp from corner to corner at pretty much every aperture. I mean, I didn't test it over f11, but I have shot it at f16, and I can tell you that even there, it's still a sharp lens. The prime, however, you know, this is an $899 prime lens at retail versus a $2,000 lens retail. This lens shouldn't stand up to this, but it does. As we saw, at f2.8, it might lose a little bit, but at f4, f5.6, especially f5.6, boy, these lenses are even, and I probably pull onto this one due to the slight micro contrast edge, especially up in the upper right hand corner. And f8, f11, no discernible difference at any spot really between these two lenses. So f2.8 goes to the 14, but every other focal point I would actually give a slight edge to this lens due to its just slight edge of micro contrast. So, and it's so minimal that none of us would ever really truly notice it. The obvious advantage is I have from 8mm to 16 here, and I just have the 1 here. I have weather sealing here, I do not here. Autofocus is far superior on this lens than this lens. Autofocus is not so good on this lens. And this lens, however, much smaller, and I can put filters on it. So there's a couple of advantages to both, but for the most part, this is the lens I'm going to stick with. I did not anticipate, I didn't know if I was going to buy it, test it, and sell it, what my feelings would be. My feelings are, it's staying with me. It's amazing. And if you guys have any questions regarding this lens at all, make sure you let me know. Also, make sure that you go ahead and leave me in the comment area what you like better, that 8mm perspective or the perspective of something a little bit closer like the 14. So let me know that in the comment, and I will get back out to finish up this vlog in Zion National Park. Join me as you'll see the final images out there and some final B-roll as we walk down the Canyon Overlook Trail. Today with some B-roll footage of us going down the trail, because there's no way you could have seen anything coming up this morning in the pitch dark. All right, so enjoy the B-roll, and make sure that if you like this content, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. So I'll see you on the next one.